dividends. This is the last section within the share topic that we've been talking about, which falls under the broader section of financial maths. So dividends per share, we've talked about buying and selling shares. Now, what about earning dividends? So that's where a company makes a profit and then they share that profit out with their shareholders. And so how much are you going to get? Well, it's going to depend, first of all, how many shares that you have, but also how much was the total dividend that the company has to share out. So you take that total amount that the directors decide to share out and you get a portion per share. So that's the total amount divided by how many you have. Let's work through a couple of examples here. So a company makes a profit of $4,500,000 or $4.5 million, and the directors decide to share 80% of the profits between their shareholders. And between all those shareholders, there are 15 million shares in total. We have to determine the dividend per share paid to shareholders. So the technique that we're going to go through here, total dividend, it's 80% of that 4.5 million. Remember, of is a multiply. So they're sharing out 3,600,000. Among those 15 million shares, how much is each share going to get? So you take the total amount of money, divide it by how many shares there are in total, and we're getting 24 cents per share. You might think that's a high amount, a low amount. You might not know if you've never dealt with shares before. That's not too bad. I do have some shares. My parents bought them for me and my siblings when I was younger, and I've gone and reinvested some money to buy some more over time, but I'm about one of the only few people I know of my age that do actually have shares, so it's not that common, but it is a form of an investment. How much is paid here? So every shareholder receives an amount based on the number of shares that you own. So how many shares you own multiplied by how much you're getting per share, and that's how much that you're going to get back. And if we're asked to then determine the dividend paid to a shareholder who owns 390 shares in a company that pays a dividend of 78 cents per share. So we're moving on from a different example here of what we've just done. Let's look at this one. How do we work it out? How much you're going to get paid, how many shares have you got, multiplied by how much you're getting per share. So how many shares have we got there? 390. And we're multiplying that by 78 cents, so putting that as a dollar amount, 0.78, and with the dollar symbol, $304.20 is how much you're getting. That's not too bad for something you didn't have to work for, but you've invested that, and that's the dividend that you're getting. I guess that's a bit like the interest that you might think. Sort of, it's a type of profit. Now, there's also something called preference shares, and if you have bought preference shares, you'll get your dividend first, and then they divide up what's left over. And how that's worked out is the preference shares, it's often a fixed percentage of the shares, what's called par value. It's not a spelling error, it's not per value, par value, which is to do with the original selling price. So how to work that out? Very similar. How many shares they've got multiplied by, well, still that dividend rate, how much you're getting per share, but with an extra one built in, a percentage rate built in as well. So it's just one extra step in that multiply. So if we're asked to find the dividend paid to a shareholder who owns 650 preference shares at $10 or $10 preference shares in a company that pays 7.5% per dividend, well, a dividend of 7.5%. What's the formula there? The number of shares, how many are there? We've got 650. What's the par value? That's the $10 there. That's the wording there, looking for the words preference shares. And then multiplied by the dividend rate. What is that as the percentage? 7.5, or as a decimal, 0.075. And that comes out to be $487.50. So just one extra step in that multiply by adding on that percentage rate. Okay, well done for working with me through this topic of videos. If you've been with me, I hope you found it useful. If you have, please like it and perhaps share it with somebody else so that they too can benefit from this information. Thank you.